Welcome to my daily review. Today is Tuesday, July 1st. What a difference a day, month, and quarter make, right? The Nasdaq was down 167 points or 0.82% today. Closed at 20,202, which is right at that old, high, right, from December 16th, right? It went above it, traded above it for a couple sessions, and now today pulled right back to that level. Pull back to its 5 EMA. Okay, so we're looking for the Nasdaq to find support there at the 5. It closed just 0.2% above the 5 there. So, this is expected behavior, right? A new month, a new day, a new quarter, whatever. It's if they're going to take profits from some of the winning stocks and try to buy some of the laggards. I call it like a Fred Sanford day. I know I'm dating myself, but you go to the junkyard and try to look for some bargains. And there's a reason why the stocks are trading so low, and I really don't think this, a lot of people are asking me today, God, this is just rotation. We expected the rotation. We didn't know where it was going to go. It went into the junkyard. And like I said, there's a reason those stocks are down there. I just don't think it's going to last a long time. I could be wrong, but I think this thing bounces off the 5 here pretty soon. That's just my expectation. We're in a strong uptrend. It was up 6 days in a row here for it to pull back a little bit. You got to expect that from time to time. I will say that a lot of our momentum names really got hammered and sold off hard. Those are the ones with big profits to take, right? And they rolled them over into some of the groups that I'm going to get to in a minute. Anyway, when the Nasdaq's down like this, I guess I'll go to the S&P. The S&P was down a little bit too. Yeah, down fractionally. And then the Dow Jones was the big winner today. Dow Jones was up quite a bit here, almost 1%. And then the Russell 2000 up 1%. So yeah, the Nasdaq with all those momentum names. And we know what moves the Nasdaq, the Meta Mag 7 stocks, and then Tesla got down to 300 today, man. Like I've been saying, this thing is just too hard for me. So I just avoid stuff like this. And obviously they're in the news a lot. So yeah, Tesla back down to 300 today, below all of its moving averages, and kind of a drag on the indexes. Microsoft down, it's been making new highs every day for it to pull back a little bit. Fine. It's just a tick below. It's 5. Apple, mm, Apple's just forming a base here. It got above 200, but no great shakes. Trying to break above, I guess, this downtrend line you could say here from that 250 level, maybe. Mm, I don't know, just from that little bottoming type pattern there at the 200. Now it's at what, 207. So I don't know. I'm really not interested in these stocks, but they move the indexes, and that's why I have to show them. Well, I don't show them all the time, but Meta pulled back just to its 5 today, maybe a little tick below it, but it's been a super strong stock as well. Yeah, 0.5% below it. Amazon was actually up today a little bit. It just looks like an inside day there above the 5, bouncing slightly off the 5. That one looks pretty good. And then Google, Google's having a hard time here. Just forming a base here, and stocks are going to do this, right? We saw Microsoft do it for a year, and it's just kind of floundering around here and kind of a wayward soul. Nvidia had been making new highs and pulled back today. Closed a little tick below its 5 there. It's a 0.5% below the 5. No big deal there. No harm, no foul. Back to that old buy point there, that 153.13. The low today was 151.49, so maybe giving you a chance to get in. If you miss this, you want to own NVIDIA and it pulls back a little bit, hey, maybe time to get in if you're interested in such things. Okay, I have to get to, the theme of the day. First day of July, sell all your winners, buy the laggards, which is totally opposite of my style. I like buying the stock showing strength. And I noticed last week, I think it was last week, yeah, Nike reported not very good earnings here, and the stock went up, and it went up a lot, and now it's above its 200, but it rallied what, 15% on a, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not a good earnings report, decelerating sales. I mean, you got big red numbers here. That's all you need to know. But the stock's going higher, right? So maybe the bottom's in, right? All the worst. Even the CEO said he believed that the worst is behind him. So we'll see. Lululemon, another company. This definitely looks like a bottoming, like fish hook type of pattern there. You're gonna jump on that line, take a bite on the hook. Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. I mean, if you're into that type of thing, if you're into buying stuff below the moving averages, and yeah. Anyway, maybe Lulu's gone as far low as it can go. It's done the limbo here. 219, it looks like was that low there for Lulu, and it's up 245. So it's 25 points off the lows. Who else was up? Oh, Starbucks. Man, they've been trying everything, different menus, drinks. Yeah, but anyway, this one's now trying to break above its 200 here. Once again, just horrific numbers here. The fundamentals do not stand out with many of these retail names. Um, ZUMZ, Zoomies had a big day today. Yeah, popping what, 6%. Looks like the low's in there. Lands in one of these catalog retail apparel. Looks like it's breaking out of that, stage one base, maybe heading to a stage two, is up 9% today. Jack in the Box, restaurant names that have just been beaten down. Yeah, up 9% off the lows, man. Things down so low you can't even see it down there. Um, but that's what got the love today, okay? And you're looking at big red numbers here, no signs of any, growth. It's just, they're bargain basement hunting, and that's just, the way the day went. That's all. Crocs, another one of these retail apparel shoe companies. Maybe the lows in here, made a low at 86, rallied up to 122, then came back down to what, the 95 area, and now popped up 107 today, still below the 200, the downtrending 200. This one's been in a downtrend for a long time. Look at, zero growth here, so can't get excited about that. It's just not my style. What else do we have here? Oh, the dentist. Yeah, the dentist had a nice day today, breaking out of an actual base here. That one looks pretty good, up 8%. It's got that cup with handle. It's an elongated handle as it pulled back to its 21, found support, and today it popped. Is that a 3 weeks type pattern in there? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The dentist, um, it looks like it's had its root canal there for a long time, from 510 down to 282. That's no fun. But now it's looking a lot better. All right, BBWI. Got to mention that one in the retail space. It's retail specialty Bath and Body Works. Nice pop today, 7%. So these things are coming off their lows. You can see it made a low here, 24.96. April, the Liberation Day, then ran up, then retested that low at 24.94. So 24.96 ran up, 24.94. The retest held, and now it's been ramping ever since. So that looks like just like I said, there's a lot of bottom fishing here. There's no real growth here. The 29% EPS growth is nice, but 3% sales growth, negative sales growth. It's just not my style. All right, so I'm just going to get out of there. I think you get the point. The retail was strong. Also, the medical, managed care group, United Healthcare, which has been absolutely bludgeoned, made that low at 248, ran up to 300. Just been kind of flatlining around 300. Today it popped $14 here. It's up to 326. This is a Dow component. So that's, one of the reasons why the Dow was up so much. Nike is also a Dow component. So, you get a couple of those going, and Apple was up. I showed that one earlier. So yeah, the Dows were strong today. And that's, as a result of these names doing well. CI Cigna, another medical managed care stock. This one's, I got to look at the weekly here. This is still consolidating in a stage one base, cup with handle. It's got some work to do, but that one doesn't actually look too bad. It actually has some, sales growth in that one. And let me see, what else do we have? Oh, Molina Healthcare. It's another one just off the bottom. I just can't get excited about these. It's just not my style. All right, the home builders. Got to mention the home builders. MTH, Meritage are building a big complex here in nearby. Looks like the low's in here. This is your classic bottom, right? Where it makes a low, it rallies up, retests the low, tests it again, and then starts to buyers come in here. You got to admit. This, looks like, some institutional footprints here. We got some, big blue volume bars. As this thing starts heading up north, let's see what it looks like on the weekly. Yeah, Meritage, and just rounding out. This could take a long time, though. That's the problem, right? If you're buying it here at 70, you don't expect it to go back to new highs anytime soon, which would be, what, 106? Yeah, it's got a lot of work to do. But I'm just pointing out what happened today in the market, right? I'm not saying this is going to go on forever. Um, Hovnanian, yeah, these housing stocks, right? Builder First Source, which is a supplier. This one looks pretty decent here. Made the low, retested it. Now it's popping higher, up to 126, up 9% today. So yeah, I mean, I would say that actually is a legit, stage one base there, and it's breaking out of that middle base. So we'll see. I'm going to keep my eye on Builder. It's one that I do like in this group. Yeah, look at that stage four decline. This is your classic Weinstein, stage one, stage two, the advance, stage three, where you can't advance any more than stage four, and then whoops, you start stage one here, and then get into stage two, which is your advance phase. So, all right. Yeah, keep my eye on that one. KB Homes, another one that reported recently, and just, man, not a good report, but it didn't go down. I'd mentioned that when they reported, same with Nike. I mean, these things are, and Lennar, not good reports, but they're popping. Yeah, this is Lennar. They reported recently, pretty rough. Even the CEO was saying, it's pretty rough out there. And they're actually looking forward to lower interest rates. So that will help our housing market. Um, what's the other one that I like? DHI, DR Horton. Yeah, same type of profile here. It makes a low, retest it. So I'd have to say the lows are probably in for these. Dreamfinder Homes is a different type of a home, but yeah, definitely popping out of that, stage one base, and it may be heading into advanced phase. So don't ignore these 6.5% move. And how about the homes on wheels, the Winnebago, even that one popped today, 6%. All right, I'm gonna get out of there. You guys get it. The retail names, restaurant, shoes, apparel, even coffee, the healthcare, the home builders, oh, the casinos. The casinos had a good day today too. This one looks like, it's popping out of that, bottom area. You could call that a stage one base. Nice move today, 9%. That's Las Vegas Sands. Steve Wynn, this is a nice looking base here that it broke out of. Yeah, if you're into, shorter term, bases here, or if you want to look longer term, this thing's just consolidating a big old base here from December to 23. So anyway, yeah, all these stocks that I don't own and don't really have interest in owning, but I'm just showing you strength. That's all. Just observing the market. That's all. I'm not judging. The commodity plays, gold was up today, and so the gold stocks, some of them had decent days. This is Anglo Gold Ashanti, one of the best gold stocks this year. The SLOB SLB, oil and gas field services stock, and the commodity group, yeah, up 4%. Nice day with volume. What else do we have? NOV. It used to be National Oil Well Varco, right? But now it's just NOV. No growth. It popped a little bit, 4% today. And I'm just observing the action in some of the stronger names up with volume that have been beaten down for a long, long time. I'm not saying buy them or it's going to continue. It was one day. And so what I got to do is I got to go through some of the leading stocks. It's Tuesday. And I like to go through some of the, leaders on Tuesday. I shouldn't say the leaders. These are the momentum plays that are above their moving averages with volume above 20 bucks. And I want to see what this list looks like tonight. And I'm going to post it tomorrow morning at mcstockcharts.com, a list of these relative strength stocks. And I might have to change the criteria a little bit because some of these just absolutely died today. And this is what you sign up for with these momentum plays. They surf the moving average, what did I say, till they bend at the end, right? That one bend that was surfing the five and then had a wipeout, right? Kelly Slater wiped out completely, down 24%. And that's kind of the old theory of like you sell too early, like you sell aggressively, you sell here when it has a down day, and then it goes up. What do we sell? What is that, 28 or whatever? So you sell here, 28, yeah. And then it runs up to 38 and you're going, oh man, I sold too early. But then it comes back down to 28 and you're going like, okay, I made the right move. This one, when you sign up for stuff like this is going to happen. What did it do today though? Actually, it pulled back to its 21. Let me scale out here a little bit here. Yeah, it pulled back to its 21, 26.47. The low today was 26.22. So, and then it bounced a little bit, up to 28.66. Still down 24%. That's no joke right there. If you have a big size position in your portfolio and it's down 24%, you're feeling that. Affirm, another one on this relative strength list today, just pull back to the five. This looks pretty tame. 3% move to the downside. AVAV, these guys had a secondary offering. It drives me crazy. It has total momentum since the earnings, making new highs, and then announces a secondary and kind of blows the momentum. Yeah, down 11.5%. It's closed, so 1.5% below the five, maybe down to the eight or something. But yeah, this is not a great day. Avis, this one's totally strong, and this is what I expect. A lot of these relative strength stocks to do is just pull back to the five, find support, and bounce like Avis did. CLS, this one pulled back to that old buy point there, that 144. 27 that it made on February 5th. Obviously, it's made this, round trip here down to 58, then back up. It made a new high. Then today it pulled back where? 144.27. That was the low of the session, which was the high here. Somebody's got a sense of humor. It closed right at its five there, just a 0.5% below. Yeah, I would put this on the ready list if, yeah, I would be a buyer here. This thing is likely to bounce off that five, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. Like I say, these pullbacks, these profit taking, it's going to happen from time to time. You got to be ready for it. And this thing just pulled back to that old buy point of 144.27, which was the low of the session today. I think definitely watch that one. Coinbase undercut the five. I know some people cut this one today. They just, it's been on a massive run though. I mean, 142 to 382. I mean, how could you not take profits, right? And so, yeah, the last three sessions it's been down and yeah, it undercut the five. And I get it. The five starts curling lower. So that's kind of like a sell sign, like, it's giving up the ghost, right? So, uh, you know, different strokes for different folks. That's all I can say. I don't own Coinbase at all, though. Just CRDO. This one pulled back to an old buy point as well. The low today was 84.25, which is back by that 86 dollar area. Yeah, I don't have the 10 here. I'd imagine that it's in between the 5 and the 20. Probably close around the 10 there, but I'm not going to change the five because the Nasdaq fell back to its five today. Dave's not here. Dave's been on a mega roll, and it just pulled back to its five today, which was 251.08, pulled back to 252. Yeah, up $4 after hours. Like I said, you got to expect some profit taking, and that's what you want to see out of your leaders. Just pull back to the five, find support. What you don't want to see is it crashing down or that five starting to curling lower like it did with Coinbase. GRAL, another relative strength stock, just inside day today. It looks like just ho hum back to the five. Looks like it did undercut the low from yesterday. Monday low was 48.43, today 48.08, so a little bit, but still pull back to the five, close 1% above the five, so that one looks fine to me. JBL, this one's in the Sanmina group, electrical contracting manufacturing, the CLS, and this thing's just been on a heater. You can see the David Ryan ants there. Pull back to the five, so what? 215, that's what you want, right? That's showing relative strength with the Nasdaq being down like it was today. What else do we have on this list? Oh, yeah, the tax bill kind of hit some of these energy stocks because I don't know if we really know what's in them exactly. Seems like the solar names were going to get hit and then they weren't. The wind turbine, which I don't know. I'm not going to get into it because I don't know enough about it. But anyway, some of these have been hit a little bit. This nuclear names and the solar names. It's in the energy group itself. NBIS pulled back today. Close 2.5% below the five. See what's going on with that one. Cloudflare, which has been on a roll, pulled back to its 21 today. 180. Almost back to that old buy point there at 177. OUST, this one got sold off today pretty hard, 11%. Like I say, that's what you sign up for with these momentum names. They're not you know, they this one has, strong sales and earnings growth, but some of these names that I'm showing you that have, they're losing money. They don't have a balance sheet or anything. This is a Roblox pull back to 100 today. Yeah, found support at 106 cents and close at 165. So I'm going to watch that at that 100 level. You know that 100 level is going to be a key psychological level. Rocket Lab up sharply here recently. I mean, from 14 to 38, so this one's been nearly a three bagger, pull back to the five today. So another one that I'm definitely going to be watching tomorrow. SEZL, this one just pulled back to its five. This one looks fine. Yeah, the five today is 166.22. Wow, it came back to 161, huh? Let's see what that looks like on a 5-minute chart. Big selling here. Woohoo. Profit taking. I'm going to go buy Nike or Lululemon. And anyway, they sold it. Some buyers came in, but overall, down 6.5%. But it's, once again, from 24 to 181, so cut it some slack. That's been a six bag or whatever. I can't even do the math there. That's been on a heater. Can't expect them to go up every day. What else do we have? SMR, another one of these energy plays. This one's playing possum here down to the 21. STRL. This is one of those construction companies. No, sold off today, 3.5%. You know, I know a lot of people got negative today. It's like, oh, these candles don't look good. But you got to expect some selling, and this one's got the growth profile you look for, right? Triple digit sales and earnings growth. But yeah, pull back a little bit today, 7%. But once again, it's been up, five up to what, 31, the six bagger. So, cut it some slack. And then BST, another energy name, and it pulled back as well. All right. Some other leaders, that aren't on that relative strength list, but are definitely on the leading stock list. Netflix, earnings is coming up, the 17th. So in 16 days, we're going to hear from Netflix. You know, this was the leader out of the gate, the first one to really move after we got liberated, out of the large liquid tech stocks, Netflix, and then Spotify as well. So these ones are going to be reporting earnings here pretty soon. So I wouldn't expect big moves here. I would expect support though, ahead of earnings, but obviously caution. They made their big runs, right? And now earnings are coming up and you got to expect some caution because you don't know these new data points, but likely to spike with strong earnings. These ones, DoorDash, this one's been on, quite a run here, pull back a little bit today. Earnings at the end of the month. So you got to be aware of that. GEV, another one of these energy names. You don't know what's in that tax bill just quite yet, but pull back to its 21 today. 491 was the 21. It pulled back to what? Full 482. Closed at 506 though. Kind of a nice closer. When I was watching, it was well below 500. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, buyers into the close. That's what you want to see, right? We'll see what happens with GEV tomorrow. What else do we have here? Oh, Hood. I had to trim this thing because it just got too far above its 5 EMA. I think it was like 10% above the 5. It closed at 5%. But it's going up every day. It's a few days ago it was at 79.85, and today the 5 is at 88. So it's moving rapidly. But it just made this run at the open, and then sold right like right here. And then it's like it's just getting too far extended. So nothing wrong with it at all. It's totally the leader, a leader, in the fintech space, but it needs to pull back a little bit and let that 5 catch up. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I know people want to call climax tops. They want to be the first in to say, look at me, I called it. But to me, if I own this, and I wanted to hold it longer term, which I own it in my retirement account, I don't really care. I think it's going much higher. I think you need to take a step back, look at the bigger picture here. Oh wow, we're down this month. Ooh, better sell it. Robinhood looks fine. Palantir does not, though. Palantir's a late stage base. And like I said yesterday, I expected more of a bounce off of this thing. I think it's going to go higher over time, but just short term, it's you're going to have to let it wiggle around a little bit here. Looks like it wants to pull back to the 50. Yesterday's bounce, if you want to call it that, look at how tiny that bar looks, on your bounce day. So, and then it comes back the next day and just sells off hard, undercuts the low from that sell off on Friday. So that's no bueno. Adios muchachos for a guy like me. CoreWeave, I told you to watch out with this one. If it can't make new highs and take out that old 187, which it tried yesterday. It was up to what, 173, but sold off today, undercut the last couple days lows. I'd be very careful with that one. It might just pull back to the 21 here, 150 maybe, and then find support and bounce. But yeah, I'm expecting some thrust here from CoreWeave. I know it's had this big move and it's just kind of flagging here. Yeah, just kind of flagging. But high tight flag, no doubt about it. But it needs to move. It's yeah. HWM, another one of our leading stocks, just pulled back today, like a lot of stocks. HIMS, this one scares me too, because it's shown the ability to trade from 72 to 28. That'll always be in the back of my mind with this stock. 65 down to what, 30 something, 35. Yeah, those are big moves to the downside. Um, yeah, 40. Okay, 65 to 40. That's a big move. All right. Just TMDX and MELI, no great shakes there. MELI down 4%, still consolidating within a base. And then Rubric, the some cybersecurity names pulling in today a little bit. Rubric back to the 50. That thing, like I said, it's just forming a base. You got to give it some time. CrowdStrike traded below the 500 level, closed at 492, just pulled back to its 21 today. Zscaler, it's had that 3 weeks tight, which I talked about. They're not always successful. Pulled back to the 30 301 level, back towards 300, back near its 21, which is at 298.96 today. So maybe it'll bounce off of that. Palo Alto Networks and only cybersecurity names undercut the 21. So yeah, it has some work to do. Having trouble with that 200 level. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow's a new day, July 2. Remember, the stock market's closed on the 4th, so the 3rd is the last day. We get the jobs report on Thursday. And that's a big deal for the interest rate crowd, that they're expecting interest rates to be cut sometime, in July or September. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching. Except in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing. We stay hungry, we stay foolish, we stay humble. And a day like today will keep you humble. And I put Gorilla on my ready list today to the surprise of some. There's a reason for that. Once, it made this bounce on earnings, a nice move on, pretty strong earnings here. And now it's just kind of pinching in here. You can see the triple digit sales growth, 84% earnings growth, but that's not the reason. I like the move on earnings. I like the flag. I like it pinching in here. I like it pulling back to the 50 and finding support. I like all this stuff. But the reason why I put on the red list is that the management team, Jay and his crew, is at the NVIDIA in San Jose last week, meeting with the NVIDIA executives. And they were talking about, yeah, and then they came in on Monday. They were in Silicon Valley last week. They came in on Monday and did a secondary offering. And Monday, the stock pulled back pretty sharply back to the 15. So, they did an offering for a reason. I'm sniffing out, yeah, it was down 11%. I'm thinking there's a deal coming here with Gorilla and Nvidia pretty soon, and they hinted, they're not just there for their health. So that's why I put it on in anticipation of an announcement of a contract or deal in the next couple of weeks. I don't think this thing's going to, rip up to new highs, tomorrow, but it could. And today it was up, a little bit, bouncing off that 50. So that's the reason that I put Gorilla on the ready list. And I think, yeah, a deal with NVIDIA could be a real catalyst for a stock like that, which only has 18 million shares in the float. It's a $370 million market cap. That is a flea of a company. Very few shares. So this thing could really explode. A lot of short interest here, folks. So this is a powder keg. I'm thinking it's going to move, sometime in July. So that's why I put it on the list, not just to, have it, pop 10% one day. I think it's going to make a move here. Definitely back above 30. All right. This time for real, I'm checking out. These guys reported earnings after the bell, and beverage alcohol, these stocks are not doing well, obviously. Look at this. People just aren't drinking as much anymore. And the CEO of, I think it was Diageo, or it might have been Constellation, was saying that the GLP-1 drugs, from Novo and Eli Lilly have something to do with it. I think it's, kind of generational too, that the younger folks aren't drinking as much. Alcohol is expensive. And also, there's other outlets for the younger generation. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.